It's a Tuesday, and as always on a Tuesday, house to myself, I watch a Van Damme movie. It's a very cold, snowy day outside, and the cat is, as always, the neediest cat in the world, destroying things constantly. Oh, last week, actually this week-ish, I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, the last movie I watched was Replicant. Watched it after I watched Legionnaire. They came on the same box set, neither of which I'd seen before. Replicant I thought would be a bad movie. The only thing I knew about it going in was that Van Damme played a dual role again, something to just as a narcissist he loves to do. And it was referred to in a Joe Blow video as the end, the beginning of the descent for Van Damme. Cat, please. It was referred to in a Joe Blow video as the beginning of the straight-to-DVD era. And yeah, my expectations were low. And you know what? Better than I expected. That's the glory of a low bar. Micheal Rooker does a great job in it. He plays the same character that he always plays in everything, but he does just fine. Van Damme does a good job of distinguishing the two characters. Neither character is all that great as a performance, really, but he does distinguish them. So let's talk about the downsides of the story. The first thing that got me turned out to be a surprise. There was a lot going on that reminded me of Unleashed with Jet Li. There's a lot of scenes where Replicant Van Damme is treated like a dog, literally treated like a dog. And I thought they must have watched Unleashed and just it took that idea, took that cinematography and everything, and they didn't. Replicant came out 4 years earlier. So maybe someone who worked on Unleashed really liked Replicant. But that is one of the weird things. The movie, rather than be kind of a biopunk, scientific, thoughtful exploration of cloning, much more leans into the mystical twin magic idea of two people being the same person. So, in universe, the federal government's plan makes no sense. Like, I guess I have to summarize the plot, and I'm going to assume a lot of people haven't watched Replicant. Van Damme plays a serial killer called the Torch, which is an awful name, who burns women. And in an attempt to catch him, the government takes his DNA and clones him so that they can interrogate the clone, which is the weirdest choice. If you have the DNA evidence, you generally just catch someone. And if you clone, they even ask in the movie, they're like, once we have this clone, why don't we put his picture up and find the real killer using this person's face now that we have an accurate description. And the government just says no, because this is classified, we're not going to do that. So it's dumb. And also, Micheal Rooker's character has seen Van Damme. He knows what he looks like. They should be so extremely close to catching Van Damme, and there's no explanation as to why they aren't. Then the weirdness comes when they birth this replicant, and he's a total blank slate. He very quickly learns gymnastics for some reason. And then they always use a stunt double for the gymnastics bits, so I don't know why at all they bothered to do it. And then they treat him really badly. And first of all, they put Micheal Rooker's character in charge of taking care of him, and he hates him and treats him like shit and like abuses him like an animal for reasons, I guess. Like the idea that he hates the Torch Killer so much that he wants to beat up this naive person he's never actually met doesn't really track. And the government putting a cop who just retired in charge of the first clone ever also makes no sense. But of course, Micheal Rooker learns to love him and take care of him, and they have a positive impact on each other, yada yada yada. A lot like Unleashed again, but less good. The gymnastics stuff, for the people who've seen it, the gymnastics stuff sucks and is weird, and they shouldn't have done it. And the sex stuff is weird, and they shouldn't have done it. I'm not going to say any more on that, because it's weird, and they shouldn't have done it. And I feel like the movie ends heavily laden with either network notes or Van Damme once again interfering with his own projects and editing or revising things in some way. Because they do a pretty tacked on happy ending that doesn't feel earned, but it is the ending that you expect. This really does go the way of an afternoon TBS movie. Right, like or middle of the night. Like this is the kind of thing that you see on television when you're flipping the channels back in the day. It's not great. I don't regret it. There are some very cool stunts, especially car stunts. Whoever did the car stunt work on this put in their work. Fight scenes all not over the threshold good enough. There's a little bit of psychological thriller and suspense stuff in there that I liked. It doesn't pay off in a big way. It's not intriguing or shocking or anything like that, but I like that they did it. And it's an okay movie. There's no reason to not watch it. It's not in the bottom tier. It's once again not The Quest. And because in the last video, I mentioned Bloodsport. Bloodsport's been on my mind because of the Screen Junkies video, or Screen Rant. Yes, you're a cat. And I've been listening to a bunch of synthwave and making a bunch of synthwave in that style of the Kickboxer and Bloodsport soundtracks. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna watch Bloodsport tonight. It's gonna be long, and I don't know. The fact that my current memory is that I hate something that happens to me a lot is I will engage with something, because I find this with my own music as well. I will listen to something that I've made, or in this case watch a mediocre movie, and if my memories of it are good, I will hate it because I'm surprised by the bad things and disappointed by the good things. But then that becomes bad memories, and then the next time I watch it, I expect it to be really awful, and then the good things are surprises and the bad things aren't that bad. So who knows where I am with Bloodsport. The last time I watched it, I thought it was just fucking brutal to sit through. But hopefully I don't feel that way this time. This is certainly the longest of these videos because I had to summarize Replicant. So do go watch Replicant. And on your own free time when you watch Bloodsport, just fast forward to the halfway point.